You're about to enjoy a Cloudcast original. Local stories, local storytellers, local brands.
Have you ever felt that you as a woman may not appear to measure up when you see incredible women in strong roles? You may be surprised when hearing from women in these positions and how we all share many of the same challenges. Thank you for joining us for the SheEO Lead-In podcast with Rebecca Jones as we share the journeys of women.
Hello, I'm Rebecca Jones, your host of SheEO. We are on an exploration together to discover more about the personal journeys of incredible women in both career and life. We all have paths to share that sometimes take incredible turns, deep resilience, and courage to navigate. My hopes are that the challenges shared here encourage women to take leaps of faith and growth when a journey feels too difficult or unachievable. There is great strength deep within each one of us. These stories are meant to share the ways strong women have taken their dreams to strive and thrive to new heights, despite their sometimes rocky paths, and found a way to lead in. So today we are here with Beth Binger, President of BCI Public Relations. How are you today, Beth?
Hello, Rebecca. Well, delighted and excited to be here. So thank you so much for the invite.
Oh, I'm so excited to have you here. I think that it's very important for women to hear from other women about their incredible ways that they have actually achieved great success. And you're really an example of that. And so you've gone through a lot of different things, been in a few different careers. But I want to start out from the beginning. What does a day look like for you?
Great question. Wow, because it's always different. But first, let me say really how delighted and honored I am, because I have for years known you, Rebecca, looked up to you, admired you, found inspiration from you. I mean, I think that's what you've achieved already in your few short years is remarkable. So other women just really inspire me, and I look around and I cheer their success, and I want them to continue to push forward, whether they're beginning their career or later in their career, because the challenges out there are immense, and the more that we really accomplish, the more fulfilling it is. So I'm always cheering in your court, and I'm really happy to be here with you today.
Aw, thank you.
But to answer your question, no, it's different every day. We're a public relations firm that works specifically in the built environment. So we work with architects, builders, developers, really working on placemaking, community building, looking to provide housing for every sector of the population, from very low income to middle market housing. The missing middle is what we're talking about a lot right now. Housing is such a big issue in our county, in our state, and we are just really, blessed to work with several developers that want to make San Diego a better place, right? They've grown up here. They've gone to San Diego State a lot. I'm a UCSD alum, so there's a little Aztec-Triton rivalry sometimes, but it's great. We all want this community to thrive and thrive for all of us, from, San Ysidro to Oceanside, throughout the East County, Hamul, Lakeside. I mean, it's so diverse and so wonderful, and has a lot of opportunities for really responsible growth that encompasses every individual. So that's kind of what I do all day. And as you can imagine, it's different. It could be everything from attending a city council or county board of supervisor meeting to being on the phone with media, advocating on behalf of a client or project. And then also a lot of study, a lot of what is happening in other markets across the country, even internationally. Can we adopt some of those best practices? Urban Land Institute is a great kind of think tank about best practices and what's happening elsewhere in the world. So I think it's that kind of research and study and really digging in, which is a lot of fun. You feel like you're back in college in your master's program or something. And that's personally what I enjoy the most about it.
Well, that's interesting. And I'm glad you brought that up, because the county, I mean, a lot of things that you said really resonate with me too. But if you look at the county, we are a collective community. We do things a little bit differently. We have a lot of bright minds, a lot of innovation here. And again, back to housing, between this year and 2029, the county is supposed to deliver almost 172,000 housing units. And how are we going to do that? And back to your point of the missing, well, I call it the missing middle specifically, but that workforce housing, which is a very important part of the housing ladder, because you can't have all low income. You can't have all these $1 million+ homes, which it's really inching up toward that.
Absolutely.
And you can't get to point A to point B without that middle part of it. And, I look at my kids. I have a 21-year-old and a 25-year-old, and I think about how are they actually going to be able to own a home? And that's the American dream. And that is, what I think you spend a lot of time really, focusing on the American dream and how do we achieve it? How do we get to that? So.
No question. Yeah. And building really healthy and healthier communities. I think you want to look at the housing, but you also want to look at cultural opportunities that are appropriate for that community. We have an architectural client that we just adore, SVA Architects. I'll give them a little shout out because Ernesto Vasquez is he's an individual that's another very much inspiration for me. He grew up in East LA. He was first generation. His family from Mexico got into Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo, very prestigious university, got his architectural degree, and just has had the most significant career and is working on amazing projects that have so much cultural sensitivity that the community is absolutely ecstatic and excited about. I mean, I think that's part of our job too, is to get the greater community to realize, wow, this can be such a benefit to a community, not just focusing on traffic and, some of the issues that kind of come with development. So I think doing that in a really responsible way. And you're right. We need housing at every socioeconomic level, and with all of the placemaking, public spaces, and cultural activation that the community deserves and wants, and will make them feel proud that this is their home.
And a place for everyone. I love that. That's important to me too. So, okay, going back to the very, very beginning, your childhood. Tell us something fun about yourself so we can learn more about you as a person, Beth.
Thanks, Rebecca. Yeah, thank you. It's funny. I for a lot of years, my childhood was unique in a lot of ways, but I think one of the most unique ways that has turned out, I think, to be a great benefit that, of course, you don't see until like a few years later. But I grew up in a very rural, very remote area. I had to ride a school bus, 45 minutes in perfect weather to high school down the mountain. I grew up at the base of a little ski hill called Bear Valley. They also called it Mount Reba, but I think now it's just been kind of adopted as Bear Valley. It is on the western slope of the Sierra, so over the pass from Lake Tahoe, really middle of nowhere. But it was a very cool childhood in that, there was really nothing to do there but fish, hunt, horseback ride. Each summer I would split a cord of wood so that we had wood for the winter. It was just a self-reliant, self-sufficient environment. There weren't really any public services to rely on. There was a little teeny community grocery store. There were no malls, no big box stores, none of that. That was all a good 2.5-3 hour drive away. So you really just kind of hunkered down. Maybe you went clothes shopping like twice a year and bought everything that you would need for that season. The seasons were very dramatic. I have photos of us tunneling out of our front door with 6 feet of snow, up to the first story of the house. So I think about it now with kind of, a lot of joy and a lot of smiles because it was it did demand a lot, but it taught you a lot, again, about planning ahead, self-sufficiency, being self-reliant. And those are all skills that I think I have to this day and that are, pretty well honed. So
important things too. Yeah, they're very important for life.
Yeah,
definitely.
They are. It might have been a little lonely. It wasn't like you were going to the mall to meet all your friends. It was a big deal if you kind of even got together with your friends because of the travel distance. And so, I won't say it was absolutely idyllic or perfect, but it was very different. Yeah.
Interesting. So do you have a word that describes you in your opinion? Just one word. I know that's a tough one. Yeah,
I think probably definitely independent. Independent, and that's for better, for worse. I think I'm just fiercely independent. And again, I think as a business owner, a small business owner, that's important. To be able to make decisions decisively, make decisions quickly. I think that's critically important. But at the same time, at the same time, sometimes you can be too independent if you don't need other folks, So
sure.
I definitely, I know where my strengths are, and I know where I need to keep looking to kind of constantly soften out some of the edges.
Oh, don't we all? It's always a life of honing in on yourself, finding out who you are, really. But
no question.
That goes through all your experiences and how do you continue to move forward? Because obviously, if you stop, you're not growing anymore.
Yes.
I tell people I'm going to learn things until the day I die, and I'm going to work on myself until the day I die.
Absolutely.
Because you've always got to be changing. And that's the one constant, I think, in life. And I think people have really focused on that and realized that during the pandemic. Change is the most inevitable thing that's going to happen. And so you've got to continue changing. It's not going to be what it was 3 years ago, 5 years ago. It's just got to continue to change and move forward. And I think
no question
in our county, especially, we've got a lot of people that are very innovative and can help us figure things out. And, you've got to try new things. That's what I tell a lot of young people. So
yes.
Career.
Yes.
Your career today. How long have you been doing that, and what did you do before that?
Yes. To your point of change, I do say that right now, today, in our careers, myself and my small team, we are in a constant, I like to say, a constant state of pivot. We are constantly pivoting because we're pivoting to what our clients' needs are. And it's really been interesting with the pandemic how those needs have changed. It used to be purely external relations and just really talking to media, legislators, lawmakers. And now we're doing a lot more communications with an HR component, helping them recruit, retain, reward their team members, because it's such a dynamic human resources environment. So anyway, it's that state of constantly learning and constantly pivoting and being okay doing that and finding the joy in learning something new. And but okay.
It's an evolution, a constant evolution.
It is a constant evolution. It is. And I do think the couple careers I had prior to this, I mean, I don't know if you could even call them careers because they were so short. I would say jobs where I did learn a lot and they were tremendously impactful to what I'm doing now. And one was in the news and sports business. I was a news reporter and on-camera talent, evening anchor up in the state of Alaska for the ABC affiliates. I think I still have my KJUD News jacket, jacket from KJUD News. So, and then I did have, too, an actual 7-year career as a high fashion runway model and print model. And not a lot of folks know about that. It's really not something I put on a resume or my LinkedIn profile. But that, too, was just a phenomenal experience. I had agents in LA, Chicago, would fly out all over the country for print catalogs and runway shows. And I think it developed, a sense of confidence. I think, too, it really teaches you not to take yourself too seriously or take anything too personally, because you're really, when you're a model, you're really just an asset. You're just talent that's being hired for a short period of time for a particular job. And, it could be your look that doesn't work. It could be the way that you walk doesn't, whatever it is, you really learn not to take yourself too personally. And you learn at a very young age to look at yourself as a business. And you have an agent, and you are leveraging yourself as a business commodity. And that's a pretty great lesson to learn, I think, for somebody really young that's going to kind of continue to be in business. So it was, just a really good start. My last year at UCSD, I was writing full-time for the CBS affiliate here, KFMB TV in San Diego, would write the news, the 5 o'clock news, had a few scripts thrown back at me, like literally thrown back at me saying, you've got to rewrite this. It was, it's a tough, stressful environment. Anyone that works in daily news knows the deadlines come fast and furious, and they come every day. So, but that was a great learning experience. And then I would go out with the reporters and kind of do my own little package on the scene. They were kind enough to allow me to tag along with them. And then I went up to Alaska just because really Alaska called, and I thought, wow, it sounds like a great adventure. I'm used to cold weather. I grew up in snow. I'll do great in that environment. So I went up to Alaska and was a reporter, and then eventually the evening anchor for the ABC affiliates up there. So that was kind of the very beginning of my career. And then the modeling really kicked in, and that took off. So I kind of rode that for as long as that lasted, and then really went to work for really two super talented guys that had a PR firm in San Diego. I knew how to write, of course, because of all of my news experience. Loved writing, absolutely loved it, and found that PR was such a good fit because it leveraged all of my experience, all of my talents, and then a couple clients from that firm encouraged me to start my own firm, which I did, and that's really kind of how it got started. The firm ended up, the two partners started arguing a bit amongst each other, so that firm broke up, and as they were kind of having that breakup, that's when the two clients came to me within weeks of each other and said, we think that you should start your own firm, and we're, each one independently said, we're going to be your first client. So I'm sure they thought it was a win-win because they're getting this young talent probably quite inexpensively at the time. And I knew their account, and I knew really what they needed. So that was the start of BCI PR, and that was a good 25 years ago. That long.
Wow.
Yeah.
So a lot has probably happened in that 25 years. You've been doing this a long time.
Yes.
So success and failures. Do you have any things notably that you could share with our listeners that really could help them understand it's okay to fail and you're going to have success? You're going to have both. I mean, it is a balance. It's one I don't think comes without the other.
Yep. And, really, even failure, I really try to stay away from that term because I don't necessarily think of it as failure. I think of it as you found an area of incompatibility. How about that, right? You found an area where either you don't have the skills yet, or the environment is not ready for what you're trying to do. Whatever the reasons are, they could very much, too, be out of your control. So it could be that you had an impact in the demise of whatever you were trying to create, or it could be market factors and market forces that kind of accelerated that demise. So I would say, again, back to that really can be an opportunity and an opportunity to pivot. And that's when you say to yourself, early on, okay, this is really not working. How do I retool, pivot, and make this a success in some way as much as you can, right? So I don't necessarily look at it as like a failure. I look at it as more an opportunity to learn and then do something a different way. Because there's so many ways, so many times in my career, I have not gone through the front door, but I've beat down the back door. You've just got to kind of have that attitude. Nobody is going to lay out the red carpet for you. You really need to go out and get it and prove yourself and convince others that you have the talent and skills and then show that and then maintain that.
I call it falling forward.
Oh, I like it.
Falling forward.
I love it.
You never know which way it's going to go, but as long as you're going forward, I think that's always a good, trajectory.
Yeah. And sometimes you do need to, take a half day off, lick your wounds, right? Relax a bit. I mean, you do need those times too to reflect and think. So, yeah.
After every meeting, I go through this whole thing in my head. Okay, what could I have done differently, if anything?
Right.
And how can I do that better? Because again, back to always growing and figuring out how to move forward. It's just really important.
Yep.
So what sort of barriers have you had specifically as a woman in your career?
Yeah, right. Right now, the last several years, we haven't had a lot of barriers. I will say as a woman that probably the biggest barrier that I have, fought for decades and is a little frustrating is not getting invited to the table or to the party. And what I mean by that is there are clients, colleagues who will have guys' poker nights or guys' wine nights or, guys' fishing trips or guys' ski trip. I mean, it's the ski trips that really drive me crazy because I'm like, I'm a great skier. That would be such a fun trip to go on with a bunch of colleagues, But oftentimes, I just think men are very good. And this is something that as women, I think we've gotten so much better at. I mean, things like crew, right? Commercial real estate, women, organizations like that when I first really started my career, there was WIC, there was Women in Construction. I mean, there were some, but they were much smaller, and they were really just focused on work and just getting together to talk about work. Men have a wonderful way of incorporating lots of entertainment, high octane, high energy, fun entertainment, and still execute a lot of business while they're doing that. And they don't always invite me to the golf outings or poker night or whiskey tasting. And I kind of want to say, look, guys, just because we're women doesn't mean we can't partake in all of those things and enjoy them just as a colleague, right? So I would say that's really the only challenge now that we kind of face is just not being invited to the party, not being invited to the table. And then early in my career, there were individuals that I think were, very young, very immature. There's a particular reporter up in Alaska, and I'll just never really forget this experience of how destructive he was to the environment, how destructive he was to the newsroom. And when you have a memory like that sticks around for so long, it was pretty impactful and it was pretty powerful. So I think it's important for organizations too and institutions to really weed out anybody who is destructive, verbally harassing.
It's toxic. And it really affects everyone around it. It's almost like, some sort of cancer really infiltrating, and it really affects everyone.
Completely. Absolutely. Completely. Totally. Nope. And, I didn't feel that I got backup from management. I would, this young gal marching into the news director's office complaining about this person. Yeah. And their response to me was, oh, you're going to go on and have this, very bright career, and he's not going to go anywhere. And, we all know that he is, has these emotional outbursts and issues and such. And I mean, that kind of response was just infuriating to me. I was like, well, then fire the guy,
right.
because he's making life difficult for all of us that do have talent and want to do a great job. So I think I felt like management kind of really let us down in that regard. So I do, it's not been all perfect.
So as a leader, though, when you look at a situation like that, I think that's an instance where you think, okay, how can I, if you were at the management at that time, looking at the same situation, how could you change that so that everyone can meet their full potential? Because that's really what you want. You want your team to be the highest productive. You want them to be positive. You want them to work well as a team. When you have that one disruptive member, I think it really affects everyone's, self-esteem, their thought process, all of how everyone actually is effective.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. No, you've got to go talk to legal counsel quickly.
Yeah, definitely.
You got to say to legal, hey, you got to help me out here because this person is bringing us all down. Yeah.
So our listeners are predominantly women, not all women, but what would be some of the things that you would tell them and advice you would give them to our next generation of women leaders?
I would just say I really admire the next generation of women leaders very, very much. I mean, I think, it is difficult right now. I think it is for, I just think it's difficult. And I think sometimes, I felt like I benefited from the fact of not knowing what was ahead. Sometimes not knowing the challenges that you might incur is probably a good thing because in your naivety, you do keep, pushing forward and overcoming and pivoting. So I wouldn't really want to tell them too much about what they need to do or what they should do because, too, the world is so different than it was a decade ago, will be so different a decade from now. So I just want to really support them and say, find your passion, find your love, find what makes you happy. If that is taking time off to raise a family and then going back into the workforce, if that is, juggling family life with a work life, whatever really you desire, my generation of women will be and should be here to help you in any of the choices that you make, support you, pick you up, promote you, and just really be there as a support system and honor your choices because it's not easy for women, and we really need to support each other in whatever decisions that we're making. So I would say, keep a close group of friends and stay connected with those friends. I think your women friends are extremely important. They can get you through some really tough times. And just forge ahead and joy, with really an open and kind of ethical heart. And it will find you. You will be rewarded, no question. So just stay really positive and keep giving and take care of yourself, right? Take the time to rest. Take the time to nurture yourself. Take the time to go on your, run or walk or whatever it is that is your kind of alone time that lets you reboot. Is important too. So
that's cooking for me. I always have my village, and always have my things that I love to do, and cooking is one of them. So
right,
everyone knows
what do you love to cook? What are your favorite, Rebecca?
Oh my gosh!
What are maybe your kind of three
Italian food?
Oh,
I just got into soups during the pandemic, but
which are so healthy.
I love
Good
desserts.
for you.
I love desserts too.
So
but I make
bake.
Everything organic. I do lots of different things, yes. But I food is love to me. And when I'm loving people, then it actually helps me stay more grounded. And I feel like I'm more effective.
Yes.
And then, I can move on to what the next thing is.
Yes.
So moving on to the next thing.
Food is love.
Yeah, it really is. So what's next in your journey?
Oh, lots more skiing, I hope. I'm a big skier. It is something in San Diego I do miss, the seasons, that if there's just one thing that's where San Diego can improve upon, it would be, how about a little bit more rain? And then how about a snowstorm? Just once a year. Just give me a little snow once a year. But I do have the good fortune of, being able a little bit in the winter to get out and do some long weekends and hit different local mountains and do some ski trips. So that definitely kind of refuels me for the year. It's something I look forward to all year. And, since we are now right before Thanksgiving, we're before the holiday season, skiing's obviously on my mind. And personally, that's really it. Being out in nature, being out in the wilderness, and just getting in that Zen moment of, turning those skis down the hill and letting them fly. So, and then career-wise, oh my gosh, I think it's just the excitement of where San Diego County is going and growing. I think that we're maybe in a better place development-wise than we've been in so many years, and that there is a real sense in the community that, again, we need to be building more housing, the right type of housing, housing that is nurturing and healthy and provides open space and provides a cultural and community connections that are so critical for people's happiness and health. So I'm just ecstatic. Our life science market is absolutely taking off, which is so good. I mean, anchored by our incredible network of universities, everything from UCSD to San Diego State to USD, Point Loma Nazarene. There's so much intellectual capital here, and we should be exceedingly grateful for that. It's just terrific. So we're building probably what will be the first or second, ultimately, life science hub in the entire country. That's quite an achievement and quite an accomplishment, and we should be really proud of that as a community. So we're building life science downtown. We're continuing to build it up on the Mesa. So I think and tourism will continue to be exceedingly strong in our community. We were just ranked, one of the best places to live. We're always ranked one of the best places to visit. So there's so much to look forward to if we just continue with really beneficial policies that will continue to kind of fuel our region both economically, socially, and provide a nice quality of life for our residents.
And meeting potential, because there's a lot of potential. Right. Talent-wise, industry-wise, a lot of growth, I think, as far as that goes. And, we've got a lot of very bright people that are looking at how they can capitalize on that, which is great.
Yes.
Because you need that investment. One doesn't go without the other. You've got to have that partnership and the communities. And North County is now, I think, really poised at a position, some people call it the upside of San Diego.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah,
Rebecca.
Yeah, so
I have not heard that.
Yeah, I love it.
Oh,
too.
the upside is wow.
The upside of San Diego.
Whoever coined that? Who is that person?
I think it was actually the Innovate 78.
Oh,
the Innovate 78.
That is great.
Yeah.
No, that is great. Yeah. I'm not a North County resident, but I will give you that. There is a lot of upside.
We do. We have a lot of really bright people, a lot of hardworking people. And, it's our connection to Riverside and then also Orange County, too.
Right.
To bring the whole Southern California region together.
Right. Absolutely.
So
wow.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. I'd love to hear more about you. And I'm going to remember a lot of these things that you've shared with us today. I think they're really valuable.
Oh, thank you,
really
Rebecca.
appreciate it. Thank you.
No, my pleasure.
Now that was powerful. We hope you've been lifted and encouraged by today's inspiring voice. Always remember that life doesn't look exactly the same for each one of us. Never stop dreaming, striving, and thriving. In future episodes, we look forward to bringing you powerful stories from amazing women who learn how to lead in to challenges. Thank you for listening and being part of our community with SheEO host, Rebecca Jones.
You have been listening to a Cloudcast original. Local stories, local storytellers, local brands. Find more stories at cloudcast.us.